Once you have your meet set up with a start list, you can begin timing. Anytime you begin an event, TIMEWARE 3 will go out and check the start list, so any changes made in Meet Manager will be brought in, as long as the operator created a new start list after making the changes. If the Meet Manager operator changes a heat in the event that you are currently timing, you will need to exit timing and go back in to bring in the change to that event. To time a meet, select Meets and Basic Timing. If you get a warning that says Start List not available in SW Meets 3, it is because the start list does not exist, it is not located in the correct folder, or TIMEWARE 3 has been denied access to the folder. If you have HyTek's Alpha Scoreboard interface, you will need to identify and fix the problem before you can use the start list. The first thing you need to do is to select the meet that you want to time. When you come into timing, it will bring you to the last meet that you were working with. If you haven't done anything with the meet, it takes you to the last one in the list. Click on the Meet drop-down list and select the meet that you want to time. Next, select the event that you want to time. When you select the meet, this defaults to the first untimed event in the event list. If the entries displayed in Basic Timing do not match the current meet, you will need to recreate the start list in Meet Manager. Next, check the GNet status to make sure that it is ready. If it is off, the network between the TIMEWARE 3 and Meet Manager computers is not working and you will need to fix it. If you cannot fix the network, you can go ahead with timing and then send the results from offline scoring later. The data set number should match the current meet number that was selected in Meet Manager when you created the start list. This number cannot be changed in TIMEWARE 3. To select the number in Meet Manager, click Run, Interfaces, Timer, and select Data Stored from GNet. Select the meet number that matches the dataset number in TIMEWARE 3. You can click the previous meet or next meet to get to the meet number that you're looking for. Now you are ready to time the meet. Before we start timing, let's take a quick tour of the timing screen. This shows you which heat you are on and how many heats are in the event. You can click on the drop-down list to move to a different heat if there is more than one. Here we have the lane, status, team code, swimmer name, splits, finish time, and lap number. You can change the status of a lane to off by clicking on it if a swimmer does not report to the blocks for the race or if the lane is empty for any reason. To begin timing an event, you need to arm the system by clicking on the Arm button. Since we are in demo mode, this brings up the touchpad simulator. It also puts the word quiet up on the scrolling line of the scoreboard so that the official knows we are ready to start the race. You will also notice that the timing status has changed to wait for start. We'll start the race by clicking on the Start button on the touchpad simulator. Once the clock starts, you will see it running here and on the scoreboard. Most of the time, you have to wait 15 seconds for the touchpad to activate before it can be hit, but in demo mode, you only have to wait for 5 seconds, and it's indicated by a green lap number. The first leg of the relay has completed, and you can see the subtracted splits have been recorded on the screen as well as on the scoreboard. The splits are yellow because it was less than 19 seconds. Unless you have a very fast swimmer in the pool, a 19-second split usually means that someone hit the touchpad in error, probably because they waited too long in the water and bumped it as they were climbing out of the pool. This is the second leg split, and as you can see, one of the lanes didn't register a split. If this happens, or if someone hit the pad early climbing out of the pool, you can correct it by clicking on the lap number spinner and moving it to the correct number. In this case, we need to bump it up because that swimmer didn't hit the touchpad hard enough to trigger it when they finished. You can see that it put in the split time as when the lap was counted up. This may lead to inaccurate split times, but you will still get the correct finish time. Here you see the time highlighted in red. This tells the operator that there was a backup time received, but no pad time. If this happens once in a while, it's usually due to human error. However, if it happens consistently, you may need to check the touchpad in that lane. This is the end of the race. If you had the confirm heat results clicked, it will take you to the confirm screen. Otherwise, the results will be transmitted to GNet and you will move on to the next event. This is the heat confirm screen. This will only show up if you have the confirm heat results box checked in either meet setup or in the basic timing screen. Here you can enter disqualifications or DQs and correct finish times as necessary. The lanes are listed in order of finish, with the fastest at the top and the slowest at the bottom. It shows the finish or official time for each lane, the time recorded by the touchpad, and the time recorded by the backup button or buttons if there are more than one. It also displays any errors on the lane. You can see for the first place team, which was lane number 1, that there is a pad time of a 1:46.90 and a backup time of 1:47.10. The finish time is the same as the pad time. For lane 4, there is an error that there was a missed backup, and the finish time is the same as the pad time. You do not necessarily have to adjust the time for a missed backup, but if you get a lot of those, you will either need to tell your button pusher to pay closer attention or check the equipment to be sure that it's working. For lane number 3, the error was no pad, which means that either the swimmer did not hit the touchpad hard enough to register or there was a pad malfunction. In this case, the backup button time is taken as the finish time. For lane number 2, the error is that the difference is greater than 0.03 between the touchpad and the backup button. If you are sure that the pad was working correctly, then the problem is most likely with the backup button operator. If the touchpad was late, it is often due to a swimmer not hitting it hard enough the first time and then bumping it once they finished the race and were leaning on the wall. The order of finish, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in this case, will be displayed on the scoreboard. If the order is correct and agrees with what the official has, you may not need to make any adjustments. If there is a problem with the order of finish, you can hand enter a watch time or backup time if you have one, or a time that will make the order of finish match what the referee has, since he is the ultimate authority. Click on the finish time for that lane and swipe it to select it. Then type in the backup time to the 100ths without using any punctuation, and press enter. This will be recorded as the official finish time on the final results. If you need to disqualify a swimmer or a relay, click on the status of the lane and change it to DQ. If you want to show the changes that you have made to the heat on the scoreboard, click yes, otherwise click no. Now let's take a look at some other situations that might arise when you are timing an event. We'll run the 50 free as an example. First, if you need to deck scratch a swimmer, someone who has decided not to swim in the event and you were told about it before the race began, click the status on their lane to off. Now you can go ahead and arm the system. The starter starts the race and then gives a false start signal. Click the stop button, which used to say arm. Then you will see this box. If you clicked stop and error, select continue timing and no one will even know. If there was a false start and you need to restart the swimmers, select stop and restart to restart the timing screen as if you had never started the race. If you want to just pretend that you ran the heat and put hand times in, select stop and mark as timed option. Once you've made your selection, click OK. So we'll rearm the system. The starter starts the race. And everything is fine until the freshman in lane 6 gets a cramp and has to stop at the end of the pool. To stop timing the lane, you can either turn the lane off by clicking on the status and turning it off, or click the Stop Lane button and selecting the lane you want to stop. If you turn the lane off, it will act as if it had never timed the lane at all. If you click the Stop Lane button, it will record a 0 time and you will need to either put in a hand time or turn the lane off in the heat confirmation screen. Okay, it looks like everyone else made it through the heat. Because we stopped the lane with stop lane, it was recorded with a 0 time. You have to fix this before you can move on, so you will either need to change the time to put them in the correct spot or change the status to off. And now we move on to the second heat of the 50 free. Once each heat has been run, the results will automatically be sent to the SW Meets folder through the GNet connection. If there is a problem with the connection, the results are saved and can be sent from offline scoring later. That's most of what you'll see happen in timing. Now let's run the diving event, which requires the diving module for TIMEWARE.